Do you ever feel that when you're looking at PC parts, there is just too much choice? What if you didn't care about RGB fans or screens on coolers or cases with wood? Wait, I love wood on cases. Sometimes gold can be found in the simplicity.
What the hell is even that?
Which is what ASUS was thinking when they put wood on their new case, the ProArt PA401 Wood Edition. It's clean and simple, and it doesn't have RGB, and it's got wood on it. Did I mention the wood already? I don't remember. It's got black wood on it, but is it any good? Let's find out. Let's start off with panel removal on the PA401. There's a little lock to unlock the button for the side panel. You want to unlock it, then you want to push the button in, then let the TG panel tilt away while catching it, and then you can lift that panel up and away from the case. It's also a tinted TG side panel. The backside is similar, except it has no lock. You want to push the button in, tilt the panel, and then lift that panel up and away from the case. The top panel has a little latched button. You want to push that in, then you slide it back a little bit, and then you lift that up and away from the case. And to remove the front panel, you want to put your hand under the bottom lip and give it a bit of a yank, and then you can lift that panel up and away from the case. As for dust filtration, the front panel has an integrated dust filter. There's also a dust filter on the bottom of the case, and the wood is absolutely gorgeous on this case. Let us know what you think about black wood. We haven't really seen that before. For power supply support in the PA401, it uses a backloading system with a bracket, and essentially you mount this bracket to your power supply and then you backload it into the rear of the case, which is, I think, the best way to do it. For storage, there's a removable drive sled on the back of the motherboard tray. You push in a little button and then you can lift this bracket up and away, and you can mount two 2.5-inch drives to this bracket. And then there's two more 3.5-inch hard drive sleds in the bottom of the case. And to remove the sleds, you basically just compress each side and then you can slide the sled straight out. On the front, there's two 160mm pre-installed fans. All the fans in this case are PWM fans. There's also a single 120mm fan pre-installed on the rear of the case as well. There's a little interesting feature on this case. There's a little air scoop which directs air directly from the front fans into your graphics card. There's an integrated PWM fan hub which will allow you to install up to 5 fans in total. 3 are populated by the fans installed in the case already. It has full motherboard pass-through with a single PWM cable, and to power the hub, you will need to use a SATA power cable. On the front panel, there is a toggle to allow you to put it into automatic mode, which is motherboard pass-through, and maximum fan RPM mode, which, to be honest, can be quite noisy. In terms of cable management, the PA401 has excellent cable management. You'll notice there are 3 massive Velcro tie downs. These are almost twice the size of every other Velcro tie down I've seen that are pre-installed in cases. And the thing about these is they're very easy to remove and to put back. Some other cases can be quite difficult, but this makes it very easy. There's plenty of cable pass-throughs, 4 cables for the bottom of your motherboard, as well as the cable pass-throughs for your EPS power connectors. Now, these look small, but they're not as bad as they look. There's also a pass-through hole on the top of the PSU shroud for your graphics card power cables. Something that we're seeing quite a lot on cases these days is external cable management. The PA401 has some plastic clips to allow you to tie down all of the cables on the outside of your case. As for fan and radiator support, at the top of the case, you can install 2 140mm fans or 2 120mm fans, and the top bracket is removable with a single screw, and it also will allow you to install up to a 240mm liquid cooler at the top as well. It does not support 280mm liquid coolers at the top of the case, despite how much clearance there is. At the front, you can install 2 160mm fans or 2 140mm fans. As you can tell, there's 2 pre-installed 160mm fans, so you probably don't need to change those. For motherboard support, the PA401 supports ITX up to ATX, but it looks as though it may support eATX as well, because there is a bit of a gap between where the edge of an ATX board is and where the holes are for passing your cables through. If you're looking at air cooling in the PA401, kind of like how I did in our build, the maximum air cooler height is 160 millimeters, and the cooler that I used is a 160 millimeter tall cooler, so it is the maximum. As for GPU support, the PA401 will support GPUs up to 315 millimeters long. This Founders card, I think from memory, is about 305 millimeters long, and as you can see, it does look like it fits quite easily, and there's only a small amount of space on the end of the card for clearance, which is absolutely fine. It also supports vertical GPU mounting. There's a few ways you can do it. You can use a full bracket with an integrated riser cable because all of the slot covers are removable and there's no horizontal brackets, or you can use the included bracket and then bring your own riser cable to do vertical GPUs in this case. For wiring, there is a block for the lights and all the switches. There's a front panel audio cable, there's a USB Type-C cable and a USB Type-A cable. For the front I/O, we have a switch, as mentioned before, for the fans. There's two USB Type-A ports, there's a microphone jack, there's USB Type-C, there's a reset button, and one of my favorite things on this case, there is a cat-proof power button with a lock. You can lock this power button so you can't press it in, so if your cat's walking on top of your case, it's not going to do anything. That's everything I think you need to know about the ASUS ProArt PA401 Wood Edition for now. Let's do a build thing. I'm interrupting the video with a special message from this guy, from me. We've been getting a lot of questions about the music lately. I make all of the music here on the channel, and I mean quite literally every single song on the entire channel since the start. And you can listen to it by clicking the join button down there, down somewhere next to the subscribe button, and click that while you're there too. Okay, on with the video, I suppose. All right, let's take a look at the thermals. What you're seeing on your screen right now is the thermals for the PA401 are excellent. CPU thermals here are especially good because I use the Noctua offset kit. It basically drops the cooler by about 7 millimeters. So the cold plate for the cooler is more centered over where the die is underneath the IHS on the CPU. And it did a fantastic job here. Be aware that if you're using it, it does drop the cooler a little bit, but the reality is it makes it a little bit easier to build because you've got a little bit more space. You would have noticed as well, I didn't put fans in the top. Typically with air-cooled builds like this, especially when you've got massive fans at the front, the top fans can impede the airflow and make the thermals worse. If you're interested in any of the hardware used in this build, there's a PC part picker list down below with all of the parts that we used. And if there's not a list, I'll get around to it, or Claire will get around to it, or someone will get around to making the list in the description.
Okay.
Well, yeah, not you. You don't know anything about computers apparently. Alrighty, what's the deal with the ProArt PA401 Wood Edition? If I see another wooden case video that says got wood in the title or whatever, I'm gonna scream. In fact, I'm gonna scream at myself because I've done it before too. It's a small ATX case with wood on the front. It's been done before, but it is a super duper functional case with little things. Even the way that you take the side panels off here, it's very simple, but case vendors just don't do stuff like this. I get it, it's mechanical, so it costs a little bit more to produce, but this here is just really freaking nice. Not only that, if you don't want people to go inside your computer, especially in an office environment, if people aren't super computer savvy, you just lock it and then you're good to go, and then can't even push that button in anymore. It also has the cat safe power button, which I think is pretty simple, but the best way to make it cat safe is just move the power button to the front, not the top. Yeah, there's also something else that I noticed with this case that maybe some might overlook. The entire back side of the case is open. Typically, you'll see mostly solid panels for the rear panel. This is completely open. Even on the back of the motherboard side, it's open. So it basically creates a massive channel of airflow that runs through the whole case. And you may think this is a bad thing, but the PSU shroud being solid with no intake or no vents or anything makes the thermals better. There's a little scoop that directs the air to also push it into the GPU. When you put your hand here, you can feel the fresh air going straight into the GPU, all because of this tiny little bit of an angle on the panel. Like I said, a lot of these things can be overlooked by other case vendors and manufacturers. Oh man, don't say hamburger. It's illegal in my docket. I'm not allowed to eat hamburgers anymore. It's like illegal food. I get that this is not everybody's cup of tea, but I like it. Simple as that. It's really nice. I like that the wood's black and not wood colored. It still smells like wood. There's also some very interesting bits of attention to detail, especially with the cable management. Take a look at this. This is what the system looks like, fully cable managed and with zero to no effort. It took me about maybe 45 seconds to cable manage this whole system. I also like the external cable management on this case. I'll show you what I mean, right? So when we film stuff, I try and hide the power cable, and with the external cable management, you can see I'm just using that to hold this right-angled power cable, and you can't even tell that it's plugged in and running because of that. It's very, very simple. I like all of these kind of things with cases. I get it. It's supposed to be functional. And that's the thing, guys. If you're anything like me, you like utilitarian cases. You like cases that aren't over the top. You like them with little to no RGB, and you like them to be good. In fact, this is the kind of case that you don't look at. You just turn it on and it will do the thing every single time. If you're interested in the ASUS ProArt PA401 Wood Edition, the price is around about 110 US dollars or around about 215 Aussie dollars at the time of filming this video. While that is a little bit pricey for a case like this build quality is exceptional. It is probably the best build quality of any ASUS case that I've seen so far. I don't really care what people think about this because I like it. It just works. I honestly like this case. And it's one of those cases that is just so freaking simple that I would look at this case and be like, you know what? I'm going to use it for something. And I probably will, because it's just simple. It's clean, simple, and I think you guys who are more like me, who don't care about all the blingy stuff, will like it too. Gonna give myself a bit of a shout out here. Hey, you should sub to this channel. It's called Printed Circuit Board. It's another channel that I post non-gear seekers, like other tech stuff, like retro stuff, and just like weird stuff that I'm tinkering with. Yeah, that channel exists. Just sub to it. Yeah, if you want to see me do weird stuff, just, yeah, not like weird stuff, but.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, like it's tech, but not PC tech. But it is PC. I don't know, just sub. Come on, man. This is what it looks like when I talk, Claire. and you can't see my mouth and it just, my throat moves really funny. That looks so weird.